honored to have you here with us. Your dedication to Malaysia's progress and vision for a thriving, inclusive economy resonates deeply with the values and aspirations of the American business community, many of whom have been here for decades. You are no doubt a legendary figure, and that is something that is very important. This community appreciates your unwavering commitment to Malaysia's development. We recognize that we have a lot more work to do, but we know we can do it together. We take comfort in the Chamber's close working relationship with many parts of your government to ensure a brighter future. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to Yang Berhormat Mulia Senator Tunku Datuk Seri Utama Zafrul bin Tunku Abdul Aziz. His leadership and tireless efforts in his ministry and associated agencies foster a robust investment landscape and enhance trade relations, which have been pivotal in driving Malaysia's economic growth. We are grateful for all the support and collaboration. To His Excellency Edgar Kagan, the U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia, thank you for your steadfast support and for being a vital bridge between our two nations. Your efforts in strengthening U.S.-Malaysia relations are truly commendable, and we are fortunate to have you as our ambassador, especially with your deep knowledge, not only from your first stint in Malaysia a few years ago, but for the perspectives you bring from your time in the region and whilst at the White House. I also wanted to thank Siobhan Das, our CEO, and her incredible team for working very hard, especially with the PM's office, to make today happen for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, AMCHAM Malaysia has been a cornerstone in the business landscape, serving as a crucial link between American businesses and the Malaysian market for almost 5 decades. Malaysia is critical in global supply chains, and we're very proud that American businesses have made it so. Moreover, the American companies today here are filled with Malaysians from top to bottom. Our recent economic impact survey estimated this to be around 90% of manpower, if not 100% in many cases. As I look around the room, I see so many people who began their careers as engineers or analysts in the companies they work for today. Now many are in the C-suite, and another generation comes in at the bottom. I am evidence of this, and so are all of you. American companies transfer knowledge. They build their local workforce, they build ecosystems around them, they foster companies, and they foster supply chains. That's what has created the extraordinary foundation of MSMEs that will enable Malaysia's new industrial master plan. American companies continue to invest and reinvest. As such, we are seeing new investments and reinvestments from the semiconductor industry as they move Malaysia up the value chain. Those investments have sparked extraordinary growth in medical devices, aerospace, data centers, and cloud services. AMCHAM represents this diverse and dynamic community, which has significantly contributed and continues to contribute to Malaysia's economic growth and development. When you hear from AMCHAM, you're also hearing from Malaysians. Our members are committed to fostering sustainable and inclusive growth. We believe that by working together with the Malaysian government and local businesses, we can create a vibrant, resilient economy that benefits all. We raise the ceiling on what's possible. We raise the floor for our workers. In this rapidly changing global landscape, it is imperative that we strengthen our partnerships and leverage our collective expertise to navigate the challenges and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. The collaboration between the Malaysian government and the American business community is vital for driving innovation, enhancing competitiveness, and creating new avenues for growth. We and AMCHAM are committed to continue our efforts to promote trade and investment, support policy development, and facilitate a meaningful dialogue between our members and the government. By working together, we can build a future that is prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable for all. I was thinking, we have a very biodiverse rainforest, probably some of the most diverse plants and animals in the world. So maybe we can create that in our people. Let us reaffirm our commitment to these goals and work together to create a brighter future for Malaysia and for Malaysians. Before I conclude, I would like to thank the teams in your office for supporting this engagement today, and lest I forget, the Herculean efforts of the AMCHAM executive staff who strive to support our members and their country with their commitment to the Chamber's mission to be the voice of US business in Malaysia. We could not do this without the commitment of our members and their generosity, which has been expressed in many ways over the years. As we approach an ever-digitalized world, it is not surprising that our key support today comes from one of MITI's successes in attracting data centers to the country. We are delighted to have Raymond Tong, the APAC President of Vantage Data Centers, one of our newest members, to provide a few remarks. Yang Amat Muhammad Datuk Seri, thank you again for joining us today. We look forward to hearing from you in a few minutes. Thank you for agreeing to have a short fireside chat after your remarks. Let us continue to build a strong, dynamic, and prosperous future together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Now, can we please welcome Mr. Raymond Tong, APAC President of Vantage Data Center, for his remarks.
Good afternoon. YB Datuk Seri, Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, Your Excellency Ed Kagan, U.S. Ambassador of Malaysia, Mr. Anthony Lee, Chairman of AMCHAM, Siobhan Das, CEO of AMCHAM, distinguished guests, members of AMCHAM. Good afternoon today. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you today. It's an honor for me to appear before the Prime Minister, Ambassador, and so many other leaders in business and government in KL today. I'm Raymond Tong. I'm the President of Vantage Data Center APAC Business. We are very proud to be members of the American-Malaysian Chamber of Commerce and to be a sponsor of this signature event, the 47th Annual General Meeting Luncheon. The Chamber is an invaluable forum for business and government stakeholders to come together, and it is inspiring to know that we have such a vibrant community at AMCHAM. Congratulations to Siobhan and the team for the excellent event organized today. 47 years of success, growth, and progress is an incredible feat for any organization. In this time, a lot of change happens, and it takes a strong and agile organization to meet the challenges of the day and also stay relevant. Over the last 47 years, Malaysia has also experienced a lot of change and progress, and it continues with this Mandani government and the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister. Today, the road to economic prosperity is increasingly built by harnessing the power of investments and technology. As a US-based leading data center provider, Vantage has been growing our presence globally, investing heavily in building the world's best sustainable data center to support the world's cities' digitization of the economy. The significance of robust digital infrastructure cannot be overstated. It serves as the backbone of prosperity, enabling connectivity, computation, and innovation across the economy for today's and tomorrow's product and services. We are immensely grateful for the leadership of the Malaysian Prime Minister and the unwavering dedication of everyone in this room today. Thanks to all your effort, Malaysia has risen to become a prime country in APAC in attracting investments and utilizing them to cultivate prosperity throughout the nation. In particular, Malaysia has become one of the leaders in digital infrastructure and is leading the way on digitization through its initiatives, such as the Digital Roadmap. As a businessman and an entrepreneur myself, I'm excited to see what comes next through the transformative power of the Malaysian digital infrastructure in terms of for the entrepreneurship and also for business opportunity, thanks to the innovation like cloud computing and artificial intelligence. As announced earlier, we Vantage are very committed to the Malaysian economy. We're committed to invest over $3 billion to build our state-of-the-art data center campus in Cyberjaya. That's only the beginning. And we are very pleased to be partner and a contributor to the Malaysian thriving ecosystem to drive innovation and contribute to accelerating its digital infrastructure development. Thank you again, everyone, for another very successful year, and we look forward to working closely with AMCHAM and in Malaysia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to welcome right now Yang Berhormat Mulia Senator Tengku Datuk Seri Utama Zafrul bin Tengku Abdul Aziz for actually joining us, Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry. Thanks for joining us. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Shivon Das, CEO of AMCHAM, up on stage, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, it is my distinct honor to invite the leader whose vision and dedication has been pivotal in the shaping of our nation's path forward. His unwavering commitment to economic progress, social harmony, and global cooperation is woven throughout the master plans and initiatives that have emerged since he took office. Yang Amat Berhormat Dr. Seri, your presence today underscores the importance of collaboration and dialogue between government and industry and in driving sustainable development and the prosperity of Malaysia. We eagerly anticipate your insights and guidance as we navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Dr. Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, to the stage to deliver his remarks.
Selamat tengah hari, saya ucapkan terima kasih atas kesudian rakan-rakan hadir dan untuk menjayakan sidang AMCHAM yang ke-47. Minister Tengku Zafrul, Ambassador Kagan, Anthony Lee, John Das, colleagues, thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you some of our concerns. And incidentally, I'm just back from Parliament, followed by Tengku Zafrul, and I had to deal with two questions today. One, BlackRock, and two, on the latest World Competitiveness Report. The two tough questions are left to the Prime Minister. But I think that is relevant in this context of this luncheon discussion. We made it very clear that Malaysia must remain a trading nation and open to investments. And therefore, the collaboration between MAHB and GIP to us is critical, and we as a government will support, and so is BlackRock's involvement in this country. I made very clear in front of all members of Parliament, and I think that explains well our position vis-à-vis investments from overseas, and in particular from the United States of America. I thought I deserve an applause. Possibly, most of you are not aware how sensitive and difficult and how the entire discourse has been so rancorous at the local level, particularly with the small by-election in Penang, that series of aspersions cast and allegations about our decision. So I used the forum in Parliament to give the facts and to say that we as a country has benefited immensely from investments overseas. And you know that although there is growing investments from Europe, particularly Germany and Netherlands, and so China, but cumulatively, I've said it repeatedly, that the United States is the largest investor into Malaysia. And we have, I'm coming from Penang, seen this phenomenal sort of increase in terms of investments from the United States, and the advantage accrued to us through transfer of technology and training and center of excellence. Even from the early days, Motorola, Intel, for example, have used Penang as a base, and Penang now has emerged as one of the major centers for semiconductor in the country, from back end to now the front end, and therefore we will have to respond very fast in terms of providing adequate training and expertise to our people. And I'm therefore here precisely to acknowledge that and thank you and for your confidence, and we appeal to you to give all the support necessary, and we will facilitate, not only facilitate, we accelerate the process. Anything goes wrong, blame Tunku Zafrul. So I'm ignoring all the figures and everything else just to state the policy position, which is to my mind important, and probably we'll have some exchanges following this. The second question, the second issue is, of course, raised by the opposition on the somewhat decline in terms of our world competitiveness report. And instead of being too defensive, apologetic, and giving all the excuses, I said, yes, we acknowledge there are some issues, but we're addressing it. We must thank the Institute and the report for identifying in detail issues that we have to give more consideration. And this is the position that we as a government take, not necessarily to be defensive and, you know, to defend what is probably indefensible. But what are the key issues? Number one, that in terms of economic stability, we are still ranking number 8 in the world, which is really impressive. But there are certain clear decline in terms of competitiveness due to 3 factors. Number one, the ringgit. Because last year, the ringgit was badly adversely affected, although all the other fundamental figures in terms of growth, investments, and low inflation, low unemployment are registered, but still we had this problem. But fortunately in the last few months, you see this change, phenomenal change, which means it is fair to say that one of the issues raised in the report, that the decline is due to the ringgit, now has been addressed. Now, second issue is, of course, this is the lack of clarity and commitment on the part of the political leadership on the issue of economic management, namely subsidy rationalization. Right. We just took over in November 2022. We have to navigate to ensure first it's politically stable, and it's important to my mind because we have seen a period of uncertainty, minor political turbulence. When I say turbulence, I'm not talking about Afghanistan or something, just, I should not name countries, I forgot, I'm Prime Minister. But anyway, certainly there's a period of instability which is not attractive to investors in particular. So we have done. But political instability is by itself inadequate. It must follow through with clarity in policies. So the first 6 months of last year was just devising what is economic barani, that framework, how to attract investments, and new industrial master plan, energy transition roadmap, and the need to emphasize or re-emphasize on food security, and of course digital framework. All these issues in digital transformation, energy transition, have to be crafted clearly because investors want to see clear policies and the determination and effectiveness of the government to ensure this is followed through concrete programs and facilitation. I use the term acceleration of some of these approvals. And that has been addressed now. Okay? Now, in terms of subsidy rationalization, of course, it's going to be grossly unpopular. It is popular to political analysts or economists. But we have to take time, we have to prepare the ground. And we have to show that we do care and concern. That's why in the first part of last year, I just made sure that all our schools, the dilapidated schools and poor lavatories must be addressed first. And the housing for our government servants and public housing must be given adequate attention. And of course, basic rural and infrastructure and those in the hinterland. Now, having obtain that sort of semblance of confidence, then we embark on more radical policies. So there is, of course, a subsidy rationalization by reducing tariff, electricity tariff, withdrawing for those very rich and also the more successful industries, which is not a popular thing to some of you. But I think, but still is reasonable, cheaper and more competitive to the prices throughout the region. Then, of course, even we have the subsidy for chicken, which comes to about 1.2 billion ringgit a year. We have to, therefore, withdrawn the sort of a cap of the price and making sure that we monitor effectively better production, and as a result, we have maintained the price structure and saved from the government purse 1.2 billion. From electricity tariff, it's 4.5 billion ringgit. And now, somewhat is being debated, the issue of diesel subsidy rationalization, which we are determined, but we do take extra care to make sure that the poorest element in our society are not affected adversely by this program. So we do provide subsidies for the very poor, fishermen, smallholders, and taxi drivers, school buses. These things are being, and we hope through that sort of arrangement we can save another 4 billion ringgit. So subsidization. This has reference to the World Competitiveness Report. One of the major criticisms is our failure, or at least lack of determination and commitment to undertake these seemingly unpopular measures, but we did. All right. So, to my mind, that by itself would resolve the second major component of the criticism against the economic performance in Malaysia, and I hope, inshallah, next year we'll register much better report. Otherwise, you know how I would have to be forced to make some minor reshuffle in the cabinet. There's only way to save the Prime Minister by making. All right. And so I think the third issue relates to general economic framework. So I think I will address the two issues. BlackRock, because that would clear the air, that this country will not compromise on the need to work and encourage investors without this sort of prejudice and condoning or conceding to some of this, to me, some very unreasonable demands. Number two is the issue of our preparedness to undertake the necessary measures to make sure that we remain competitive and grow, because I believe strongly that Malaysia has this enormous potential to emerge as a very important economic giant in the region. Workforce, yes, we have that infrastructure, we have even the semiconductor, the ecosystem, and now we are pushing ahead at a very fast track the issue of energy transition, both in Peninsula and Sabah and Sarawak, in particular, again, Sarawak, and then on digital transformation. So I think I would do that. If you're interested to read all the data and the figures and the numbers, you can look at the paper later on. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim. Datuk Seri, can I please request you to remain on stage for the dialogue session? Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Anthony Lee, Chairman of AMCHAM, to moderate the dialogue session.
I just had a bad time, Parliament. Please be fair and ask decent questions.
So in the spirit of full censorship, maybe I'll start before we open the floor, so we'll tread lightly. Thank you for taking the time. So as Malaysians working for American companies or as part of the American ecosystem, we are forging ahead and moving our activities up the value chain. So our focus for growth rests on the predictability, stability, infrastructure, and a talent pool of young Malaysians. So, Prime Minister, you've spent much of your life as a leader in education. What are your thoughts on how we educate, shape, and train the next generation of Malaysians to compete in the global economy?
Yes, not too difficult, yeah. We need to make the necessary adjustments fast. For example, say 30 years ago when I was, or 40 probably, when I was Minister of Education, there was not much need to emphasize on engineering and TVET and AI as we have to do so now. So the pace of change has got to be fast, and it cannot use the normal academic rigor and process as we did in the past. For example, if you are familiar with the university, I'm fortunately used to have some experience here and in Oxford and also Georgetown and science. Even the best universities in the past would need to take some time in introducing new disciplines. Because they have a department and the faculty and the board of studies and the Senate before the final approval. Now, if you go that process with the AI, then you lose time. So these things need to change fast, and I'm fortunate that when I instructed the university, UTM, to start the AI faculty, they were able to do it in 4 months, which is actually a real record. Which means our people, given the clear policy, can make the adjustments. Similarly with the English, with the language, issue of language. I'm very firm that, on the need for all Malaysians to be able to be conversant in Bahasa Melayu. It's a national language. But at the same time, you realize that you need to then enhance the level of proficiency of the English language. And because we used to have English as our medium of instruction, then becomes Bahasa, then you went on, unfortunately, at the expense of the English language. Now we have to bring it back, because one of the strengths, other than the technical engineering, which was still short, I mean, the latest figures show that we are short about 30,000 engineers in this country, and also TVETs, probably a more highly skilled with a level of expertise that is required by the industry. For example, when you come with the issue of chips and semiconductor, then you realize it's no longer back end. And therefore, the level of expertise and training has got to be adjusted very fast. One way is to get the industries themselves involved. The American companies many of them are involved with the training, not only in the Special Training Institute in Penang, but also in collaboration with University Science. And I think 3-4 big American companies are directly involved in that training, and also planning for introducing new disciplines and getting the expertise to make sure that the university would necessarily produce professionals that would meet the requirements of the industry. Now, I don't believe, I'm in the philosophy of education, I don't share this purely utilitarian policy or description, because you need to be both. You know, after all, you're training a human being, you're not training machines. Fair enough. But then you have therefore to have a right mix so that they become, you know, enough issue of compassion, of humanity, and tolerance. At the same time, have the required expertise. Now, coming back to English, the Ministry of Education have started this dual language program, not necessarily too popular in some quarters, but we are pushing the agenda forward. This is what I mean by the necessary transition from the policy we have been used to meeting the requirements of both the nation, the changing situation, and also the dictates of the time. And in this particular context, my view is both STEM, English, Maths and Science, and engineering and TVETs, at the same time push for more English in our school system.
Thank you, Richard. To the floor, any questions anyone would like to ask? One over there at the back, I think it's Astro. Could you just say your name and your company and then go ahead?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi Perdana Menteri, Hasnul Nazrin dari IBM. So for 2025, as Malaysia takes up chairmanship of ASEAN, what can we expect from the digital policy perspective, specifically in the areas of digital trade, such as DIFA? Thanks.
Well, thank you. I think you must have got some insider information. Because in the discussion with Zafar and our team, once we assume the chairmanship, one of the issues of priority is digital sort of policy that would encompass the entire ASEAN. Now, we have had initial discussions in Jakarta early this year, but I think we are formulating that policy now. And I think we have to do it fast. In fact, the meeting was just yesterday. So I think I better find out from what is the source. Particularly, it's dangerous. The American companies getting source from the inside. So, but I share your concern. If you have some views, please do take up. But that happens to be one of our major priorities. One, if you see, for ASEAN next year, when we assume leadership, or end of this year, then I think one of the major programs they want to initiate is, of course, the digital understanding and connectivity between in the region, ASEAN in particular.
All right, that was borderline tough question. But any other questions from the floor? One over there.
Andy from Johnson. So last year, under your leadership as Prime Minister and also Finance Minister, we saw one of the best commitment on healthcare. Right? There's an allocation of a huge increase in budget to about 41 billion, 13% increase from the prior year, right? And of course, that then we look at this year's budget announcement, right? What would we expect? Would it be a continuation of that increase, momentum in terms of in US innovation, mental supplies, and of course, for the member of public in Malaysia? That's the question.
We grew up with Johnson powder. Well, on a serious note, I think you are engaging with the Ministry of Health. From the report I gather that you have made some proposals, because it's both in terms of procurement and also in terms of modernization, including digitalization. And that has been the focus now for the Ministry of Health. Of course, the basic infrastructure must be provided. There are, as I alluded to earlier, about the issue of rural clinics in dilapidated conditions, and that was given some priority last year, but now the focus is, of course, to improve the service and deliverability of the ministry, and through, of course, AI and digital, should say, some programs. I'm not saying that we can do it for the whole country, but the Ministry of Health is probably focusing on areas and probably states. And, but I think you are very familiar, because I think from what I understand from the Ministry of Health, that you have already made some submissions and you're in discussions with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? No? I think we're going to wrap up with one more from me. So I better choose a careful one. Okay. I think you've spoken about subsidy rationalization, which is all good. I think, well, I'll just finish on a simple one, right? I'm personally, you know, like I said, from a person, I think we're very blessed, because as a leader, certainly in the world today, there's a lot of change and disruption, and you're a leader that has gone through such an evolution in the history of Malaysia, right? From the early days, I mean, there are people that I still know that have your Reformasi posters on their walls, you know, and so you've gone through all of this, and Malaysia's going through its growing pains as it's ever have been. What is your ask for all of us? You know, how can we all kind of contribute to make sure that we're on the right track? You know, what is your wish list? You know, maybe 3 takeaways that, you know, barring all the politics aside, obviously we know that's always going to be there, but what do you think we should all really focus on?
Well, of course we need investments. And thank you for the confidence. But I must say, in all honesty, that whilst we have to acknowledge the transfer of technology, the center of excellence, the training, and I think you need to pursue on that. Because the thinking is now more critical and sophisticated. People do realize that whilst we do need investments, but people expect this collaboration to be more effective. That why not a more effective transfer of technology? And with your contribution, I would use this as a showcase. I mean, I would not name countries. In all my engagement in the other countries, I always make reference, for example, Intel in Penang, a major center of excellence and training and transfer of technology. And if it can be done by an American company, why can't other companies undertake the same measures? Because that would render that sort of a trust, understanding, and respect, which is very core values in the Madani economic framework. Then, of course, your engagement, many of you are engaged in some through CSR, through training, through engagement, because it's very important, particularly now. Yeah, and I made reference to the, say, contentious debate in Parliament about American companies, specific companies. But I think people, Malaysians, as you know, you interact with them. I mean, we're quite open. It's up to the companies too to take that initiative, to engage with the community. And it's very important, because we have to build that trust. That the world is so divided. The exchanges are so rancorous. And there is a lack of humanity and compassion. And I think other than, of course the bottom line is clear, you have to make sure your performance, I don't question or doubt that, but let me use this, my other hat. I believe strongly in the issues, on the issue of justice, passion, and it is not just for governments to do it. No government can on its own do it. American investments here, cumulatively, is the highest ever recorded. And you know the sentiment sometimes, because the geopolitical issues against Americans are strong in the political statements. But you know, at the people-to-people level, is absolutely far different. People work with you, they engage with you with so much affection, and I know that for a fact. So I think you need to then work on that and build, because I don't think just political leaders should dictate these issues. There are many other players, and that includes the business community. I would certainly hope that this can be done. I mentioned the issue of transfer technology, of center of excellence, issue of engaging with the people in the country you work with. And from my understanding, and I've worked many years in the States and engaged with many friends there, from science to Georgetown, and the Council of Foreign Relations, both in New York and Washington, D.C. You know, engaging people to people far different from the statements at Congress or the House of Representatives or the political leadership and the battle presidential elections. It's hugely different. I mean, without as a generation, one of my best years, Aziza can confirm that, was when I was teaching at Georgetown University with the colleagues there, and students and colleagues and the community there, and amazing. So this is far different from the, the exchange at the political level, and I think we should build on that and trust that people finally would realize that this is beyond just the political differences that we have. Thank you again.
Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim and Mr. Anthony. I would like to invite both of you back to your seats.
Boss. Lagi.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope all of you have worked up some appetite. Lunch will now be served. Thank you.
Dah lah, dapat. Mulut ni tanda pun yang lama. Jolok. Mana kita ni? Jolok mana? Wah. Thank you, Patrick. This is dulu. Bang. Tuan, kamu nak sama Kem? Dua kamera kita tak boleh situ. Kena buka laptop. Dekat mana? Jono mana Jono? Jono standby dekat. Sini je. Kalau nak tambah. Mantap lah. Jauh ni. Ke sini. Mengalir ke sini. Mengalir ke? Ke sini. Kamera kat sini. Semua ke sana. Nanti dia tutup. Dia tutup. Itu tak jolok kat nama dia. Tak masuk.
Okay, alamak.
Thank you, Datuk Seri. Thank you, Datuk Seri. Okay. Thank you.